What are you doing with people who say they're not interested? Most of the time, it's really just bad timing. And in my opinion, you should follow up with them again, but you don't want them to stay in your normal calling process. So if you've been following along and watching our other videos, you might have a calling process where you're calling these people every couple days to try to connect with them. And if somebody says they're not interested and then you call them again a couple days later, they might not be too happy about that, right? Well, on this specific training, we're going to continue talking about the advanced search feature in PhoneBurner, but we're going to create a process to help you follow up with people who tell you they're not interested appropriately. So let's get into this. Let's go ahead and click on the advanced search menu. In the advanced search menu, we're going to go down to the folder option. Now, hopefully, in your setup of PhoneBurner, you have created a folder for all of your not interested contacts. Now, you might have one folder for not interested. You might have multiple not interested folders, depending on how you're managing your data in PhoneBurner, whether or not it's broken down by different campaigns or things like that. But in this particular case, we're going to focus on a single not interested folder. So as we're calling through our contacts and people are answering, there are going to be a certain number of them that say they're not interested. So we're going to shuffle all of those people off into the not interested folder. Now, of course, we don't want to just search for all contacts in the not interested folder. We want to look for contacts in the not interested folder that haven't been called for X number of days, right? So now everybody's going to have a different opinion on this, so I'm going to leave it up to you what the timing should be here, but let's just talk about the mechanics. So we're going to go to the last called option in the dial session section, and we're going to change this from on to before X days ago. You might want to choose 30 days, or 90 days, whatever makes the most sense for you. Go ahead and enter that number, because this is going to be the number of days that you wait before you reach out to these people again, or before you move them into some other campaign, or before you do something with them again, right? We want them to cool off for X number of days before we make another outreach to them. In this particular case, we don't care about total call attempts. Well, in most cases, we're not going to care about total call attempts. We just want to make sure that we're waiting a certain amount of time after they've been put into the not interested folder or after their last phone call. So in this particular case, these are really the only two parameters that I care about. That they're in my not interested folder and it's been at least 90 days since I last called them. This is going to become my not interested save search. So I'll call this not interested calls. And we're going to go ahead and hit search. And there we go. You can see I have 11 contacts in my PhoneBurner account that are in the not interested folder that haven't been called for at least 90 days. So now it might be a good time for me to reach out to them to see if the timing has changed. You know, a lot of times when somebody says they're not interested, they didn't even listen to you. They just got a phone call at the wrong time and they just said, hey, I'm not interested, boom, and they hung up. So now might be a good time for me to reach out to these folks to check in and see if now is a good time for me to talk to them. You know, assuming that the first time I called them, it was just bad timing. Now, this is different than somebody who says, don't call me again. Those people I never want to call again, and I move them into my do not call folder. This is a process just for those people who didn't give you enough time to really help them see the value in what you're offering them. Now, if this is going to be a process that you want to follow regularly, my recommendation would be that you pin this save search up at the top with all of your other pinned save searches so that you never lose track of this specific group of contacts. Especially knowing that in our particular case, it's going to be 90 days before anything ever shows up there, right? So if I set up my PhoneBurner account today and I start smiling and dialing, my not interested quick view is going to be empty for at least 90 days. So it's important that I don't lose track of that. So I'm going to add that to my quick views. So anyway, that's what I've got for you here regarding a not interested follow-up process to ensure that you get the most out of your data. I hope this helps you and your organization get the most out of PhoneBurner. Thanks for taking a moment to watch this video, and happy dialing.